Hello, and thank you for standing by for Leju's first half 2020 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. Please note that today's conference call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the meeting over to your host for today's conference, Ms. Michelle Yuan, Leju's Deputy CFO.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leju's first half 2020 earnings conference call. Today, we will update you regarding our financial results for the first half year ended June 30, 2020. If you would like a copy of the earnings press release or would like to sign up for our email distribution list, please go to our IR website at ir.leju.com. Leading the call today is Mr. Jeffrey He, our CEO, who will review operational highlights for the first half 2020. Mr. Lilan Cheng, our acting CFO, will then discuss the financial results in more detail. We will then open the call to questions. Before we continue, please allow me to read you Leju's safe harbor statement. Some of the statements during this conference call are forward-looking statements made under safe harbor provisions of Section 21E of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 as amended. Forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Potential risks and uncertainties include, but are not limited to, those outlined in our public filings with the SEC. You are encouraged to review the forward-looking statement section of our annual report filed with the SEC for additional information concerning factors that could cause those differences. Leju does not undertake any obligation to publicly update any forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise, except as required by applicable law. Our earnings press release and this call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information, as well as some unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Our press release contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to the unaudited most directly comparable GAAP measures. Please note that unless otherwise stated, all figures mentioned during this conference call are in U.S. dollars. I will now turn the call over to Leju CEO Jeffrey He. He, please go ahead.
Thanks for everyone joining us on today's call. Against the background of the COVID-19 pandemic, we delivered solid results for the first half of 2020 with steady revenue and increased profit. GTV from our services reached 181.5 billion RMB in the first half of 2020. Due to the impact of the pandemic, we have seen strong interest in our innovative offerings as real estate developers increasingly value and utilize online marketing services amidst the challenging market environment. Since the Chinese New Year, we have accelerated the digitalization of our e-commerce business with the launch of 5 highly effective online marketing campaigns, including online apartment sales, live broadcasting and the VR house tour, online property sales platform, spring online real estate transaction fair, and the Suning and Leju June 18th online promotion. Leveraging our online property sales platform, which provides a comprehensive online property transaction ecosystem, including property subscription, sales launches, and electronic signings. In addition, we recently announced an exclusive strategic cooperation with Suning, which will further strengthen the development of an online closed-up transaction model through the combination of vertical platforms and professional e-commerce platforms. We also recently announced a strategic cooperation between eHouse, Alibaba, and Leju to build an online real estate marketing and transactional platform with the goal of enhancing the digital and the intellectual capabilities of the real estate service industry. Leju will become the service provider for digital marketing and operation on the platform, which will greatly enhance our core value and expand our business scale in the future. Looking forward to the second half of this year, through our in-depth cooperation with Alibaba and Suning, we will further improve our platform, continuously expand our market reach and the product innovation, and provide leading online integrated marketing solutions for property industry. We will also further optimize our operations and management and improve our operational efficiency to ensure the healthy and the sustainable development of the company. Now I will turn the call over to our acting CFO, Mr. Lilan Chen, who will review our financial highlights for the first half of this year.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Good morning and good evening, everyone. For the first half of 2020, we recorded total revenue of $279.7 million, relatively flat compared to the same period last year. Total revenues denominated in RMB were 1.973 billion RMB, an increase of 4% from the same period last year. With business activities largely back to normal following the pandemic, our total revenues recovered quickly in the second quarter. Our e-commerce revenues slightly decreased by 2% to $205.4 million for the first half of 2020 as a result of devaluation of RMB relative to US dollars. E-commerce revenues denominated in RMB were 1.449 or roughly 1.45 billion RMB, an increase of 2% from the same period last year, primarily due to an increase in the number of discount coupons redeemed, partially offset by a decrease in the average price per discount coupon redeemed. E-commerce service revenue contributed 73.4% of our total revenues for the first half of this year. Our online advertising revenues contributed 26.4% of our total revenues, and it increased by 5% to $73.9 million for the first half of 2020 due to an increase in property developers' demand for online advertising, while our listing revenues decreased by 60% to $0.3 million as a result of a decrease in demand for secondary real estate brokers for the first half of 2020. Income from operations was $1.2 million for the first half of 2020, compared to a loss from operations of $7.1 million for the same period last year. Net income attributable to Leju shareholders was $1.5 million for the first half of this year, compared to a net loss attributable to Leju shareholders of $4.1 million for the same period of 2019. Non-GAAP income from operations was $8.3 million for the first half of this year, compared to $0.4 million for the same period last year. Non-GAAP net income attributable to Leju shareholders was $7.2 million for the first half of 2020, an increase of 306% from the same period last year. As of June 30th, 2020, our cash and cash equivalents balance was $258.2 million. Our net cash flows generated from operating activities for the first half of this year was $101.1 million, mainly attributable to non-GAAP net income of $7.6 million, an increase in advance from customers of $70.7 million, an increase in amounts due to related parties of $49.7 million, and a decrease in customer deposits of $31.1 million, partially offset by an increase in accounts receivable and contract assets of $47 million, and a decrease in other payables of $23.7 million. Looking ahead, we estimate that our second half of 2020 total revenues will be approximately between $480 million and $500 million, which represents an increase of approximately 16% to 21% from the same period last year. Please note that this forecast reflects our current and preliminary view, which is subject to change. This concludes our prepared remarks. We're now ready to take your questions. Operator, please go ahead.
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your name to be announced. To cancel a request, please press the pound or hash key. Once again, it's star 1 if you wish to ask a question. We have our first question from the line of Eric from Blue Lotus. Please go ahead.
Oh, hello. Thank you. First, congratulations on the good result. I have two questions. First one is, can He Zong and Lilan, can you elaborate on how you plan to convert Tmall's 2C traffic and utilize our new home selling site Selenium to convert them into home purchasing traffic. My second question is, I noticed that your advance from customers went up threefold, while customer deposit actually declined a little bit compared to half a year ago. Can you explain what is the linkage between these two accounts, and how do you expect to recognize this advance from customers into revenues in the second half? Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask you answer the first question. That because we are still in a very initial stage to cooperate with Alibaba, and we are still evaluating the traffic from Tmall and Taobao and Alibaba ecosystem. Apparently, they have a very big traffic in terms of the e-commerce. However, how many buyers on that platforms are interested in home buyers, and also how many users actually can be effectively converted to be our house purchasers. We are in the stage, we are in close cooperation with Alibaba colleagues, and it's our goal to effectively utilize their traffic into our online house platform. So it is quite early to answer your question that how many people will come from their platforms. But from our initial discussion, I think this is a quite effective way because they still have a very strong traffic. And another advantage is that they actually precisely know the habits of their users. So I think if we combine their technologies and the Leju's technologies, we are quite soon to figure out effective way to utilize the traffic. So that's the first question I answer.
Yeah, I'll answer the second question. The advance from customers and customer deposits are actually two very different things. Maybe the labeling is not ideal, so it causes a confusion here. Advance from customers, here the customer are the individual home buyers. And advance from customers is the money cash we receive when we sell the coupons, but before we recognize our revenue. So it's kind of a deferred revenue in nature. Customer deposits, here the word customer means developers. So it's two totally different things. Customer deposit is the amount of money we pay to developers to secure certain e-commerce projects, and it's refundable. Usually, refunded within a couple of months. So it's just the coincidence that we use the word customer in both places, so that may be what's causing the confusion. And the movements of these two items are completely unrelated. So it's just a coincidence here.
Okay, 好，谢谢。
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Marco Rodriguez from Stonegate Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my questions. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the strategic cooperation with Suning. What are the possible kind of revenue impacts, if you can help frame that?
Okay. I think our cooperation with Suning is the first step that the Leju cooperate with expertise e-commerce platform. As you know, Suning is an e-commerce platform for home appliances, and the platform, because they are running based on stores, and the Leju's platform actually is based on information platform, and then we plus the trading and tools on that. So it is our first step to cooperate with an expertise e-commerce platform. The first step, as you see, that we exclusively run the real estate channel on the Suning platform. On the other hand, we also opened a flagship store on the Suning platform. This enables us to do the transactions on the e-commerce platform through promotion, like our June 18 activities. We accumulated a lot of expertise to how to provide marketing services to our developers. So it is so far, I think, because we just finished our second promotion with Suning, and we talk about the August 18 activities, and actually the results are quite good. So we are trying different methods to utilize the Suning platform to enrich our varieties of services to our developers. That's the first one on the marketing side. So we have a lot of we have more choices, options of activities, marketing activities to the developers. The second is that we are actually combining our users to their users. This is it's kind of a value-added chain because on Leju's platform we have very precise users, our home buyers, which actually are very precise buyers or potential buyers of their home appliances. So we are trying to put our value added together to enrich the experience of our users. That's on the second part. The third part is that we are also talking about more options to provide value-added services to the users, including financial services, which Suning Finance will provide. So this will also provide us another way to enrich our capabilities to serve the developers and the users.
Got it. Understand there. Then switching gears, if you could just talk a little bit more in regard to the Alibaba transaction that you guys just recently announced. If maybe you can talk a little bit about how the transaction came about, and if you can maybe talk about the timing of the transaction. Just kind of wondering why it happened now versus maybe in the past, given the fact that you guys all know each other.
Okay, the deal actually is not, Leju is a part of the deal, but actually it's just the main deal is between the e-house and Alibaba. I think why it happened because maybe partly because of the pandemic, most developers actually begin to value the online marketing and the sales capabilities. And it is quite a good point that online platforms that they shifted their attention to such a big market, which worth 100 billion RMB or more. So that's, I think, the time point that Alibaba is very interesting. And actually, e-house and plus Leju, we actually are very strong. We have a quite strong presence on the market, and that's we think why the deal happened today. On the other hand, on the second hand is that we actually this also opened that door for Leju. When you see our cooperation with Suning, it's our first step. It's our first step with cooperation with the e-commerce platform, and we accumulated experience. And so this will also help us in our further cooperation with Alibaba because they are also e-commerce platforms. So this is quite helpful for us, and this also opened a window to attract e-commerce users or the traffic. Before our users are mainly attracted from the information-based users or potential buyers, and the source of the e-commerce platforms actually another important potential buyers for us. So that's the second one.
If I may just add a little bit to what Jeffrey just said. In fact, in our e-house chairman, Mr. Zhou Xin, and the city management, we've known Alibaba people for a long time, and there have been on and off discussions about Alibaba's intention, their thoughts about whether and when and how to get into the real estate industry, how to bring that onto the Ali platform, and how we could work together. So I think this dialogue has been happening for a while, and I think in Ali's mind, eHouse and Leju Plus, we would always be their preferred partner. I think, sort of to echo what Jeffrey said, I think the fact it happened now, behind this is I think Alibaba finally, made up its mind that it wanted to, it had to get into real estate to make the overall ecosystem complete. The COVID-19 pandemic may actually be one of the factors, because when all the offline showrooms were shut down, Leju was probably the only player, marketing player still operating. That may be one thing. The other, although we didn't explicitly discuss this, but I think the success of Beike and its IPO may have been another impetus, just so Ali people could see how big this platform could be when you combine online and offline platforms to facilitate real estate transaction. So I think the dialogue lasted quite long, but when it started to speed up, the process was actually quite quick.
Understood. Very, very helpful. And last quick question from me. In your prepared remarks, you talked about optimizing operations and improving operational efficiency. Are these any sort of cost-cutting moves that you're making? If you can just kind of expand on that and maybe quantify, if you can, what that means.
I think I don't actually improve the efficiency of our operation. Doesn't mean that we cut hands, because our e-commerce platforms includes both online services and offline services. Previously, actually, when developers they show little interest on the online services, so they actually ask more offline services from us, which means more cost to us. And from this year, because we already show the efficiency of the online services, this will help us actually improve our cost structure. That's why I say we will try to further increase our operational efficiency, mainly because we still think there's quite big room. First is educate the market that when you use online services, you can be more efficient than when you're choosing the offline services. That's the first one. The second one is that from our platform structure, we will actually invest more resources to the online services rather than put all the offline services, which will also help us to improve the cost structure. So that's what I mean in the prepared remarks.
Got it. Very, very helpful. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Miranda Zhuang from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my question. I have a couple of questions. First of all, I want to ask a question to follow up on the cooperation with Alibaba, which includes several small questions. First of all is, management just highlighted a few areas that you are cooperating with Suning. I'm wondering if that kind of cooperation that you mentioned about more value-added services and running the housing channels and etc. Are those kind of cooperation that will also be implemented in our cooperation with Alibaba? And what else? What kind of cooperation areas that you think may be interesting for your cooperation with Alibaba? And then my second question is, I think you mentioned a very good point about converting the traffic from Alibaba, which is a general e-commerce platform, to select those users that are interested in housing transactions, and that would be an area that you need to work on. So I'm wondering that what's the depth of the cooperation that you're working with Alibaba? Is it going to cooperation in a more in-depth level? For example, the sharing of the user data or integration of the user data, so that you can better use data mining to find out those users that are interested in your platform, and also that are available in Alibaba. Then I will ask a question later. Thank you. Another question later. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For the first question, actually, as we announced that we will cooperate with Alibaba to building two platforms. One is the digital marketing platforms, and the second one is the online transaction platforms. So that's the two-part platforms. One is the marketing platforms, which actually now we are cooperating with Suning, is mainly on the marketing side. So we actually, you can see we sell a very small amount coupons on that to attract some potential buyers, and also we compensate some money or in cash or in Suning card, so that when they finish the purchase. So it's on the marketing side. We will continue actually, or either expand the scope of cooperation with Suning, and we also will copy these models to the Alibaba. And as Alibaba has, the ecosystem is stronger than the Suning, so this will enable us to play more marketing activities on the Alibaba side. And the one thing is for sure is that we are going to jointly do the November 11th activities, marketing activities together. That's the first one. For the second one is that we are going to do the online transaction platforms, which relies on the payment solutions and even the financial services. So this is the capability of the Alibaba, and I think we have the strong capabilities of, we know when the developers how to sell their houses, and Alibaba has the capabilities to find out the financial solutions, payment solutions for them. So we are going to the second platform, is that the online transaction platform. And the third one is that when we building up the marketing platforms and the transaction platforms, we will also pay some attention to the post-home purchase market, which means when the people buy the houses online, and how many value-added services or even value-added e-commerce services we can provide to those users. So three parts that we are considering now with Alibaba. Currently, we are in very close discussion with them to realize these functions, and we are trying to building out comparatively mature platforms in 1 or 2 years. And as the other one is that one advantage for Alibaba is that he actually owns 800 million consumers on their platforms. So data mining is for sure is their capabilities. However, we know the characteristics of the potential buyers. So we need to combine their traffic with our capabilities to find out how many people in the coming 6 months or 3 months they have the intention to buy houses, and we can do effective marketing services to them, and then convert them into the trading stage. So that's the important topic between our two companies now. I think this is also a very effective way. Just help Leju to improve our capabilities to reach a bigger audience. And for Alibaba, they have a new way to realize the value of their current users to provide more added services.
Thank you. And I want to ask my second question. We also noticed that now you're being consolidated by Leju Group because you increased the holding in the company. So I'm wondering that what kind of initiatives or cooperations that you will work with Leju, since now you're a consolidated entity, especially because Leju's strength is in the offline activities that they have offline sales teams, while your strength is in the online market. So can you elaborate more on the potential there?
Okay. During the discussion, the deal discussion with Alibaba, actually, Xiao Yao, their chairman, asked us questions. The real estate actually is an online plus offline circle. Only online or only offline currently is apparently not an ideal model. So he asked the questions why E-House and Leju can't cooperate first, because Leju is online and the E-House is offline. So I think this is also a good question for us. In the past 10 years, actually, we have some small corporations, but not on big scale. On the corporate level, we are not doing some close cooperation. So I think this is a good start for us to think about our model, combining both online and offline services. So that's the initiative that E-House become the controlling shareholder of Leju. This also enables us to think about that. Previously, actually, we are two independent companies, so a lot of services are provided to developers separately, and our financial controllers also ask us not to. How to say is that it's kind of internal trading, right? But now E-House becoming our controlling holders. I think this problem solved. So this also accelerates our solutions. We can provide both online and offline combined solutions to developers. I think it's good for us.
Thank you. So my last question is about our guidance. So we mentioned that we expect a 16 to 21% growth in the second half this year. I'm wondering, which is improved meaningfully from the first half level. So I'm wondering that in your business outlook, how much of that is contributed by recovery of the housing market, overall market, and then how much of that will be contributed by potential contribution from the cooperation with Suning and Alibaba, and then also how much of that will be contributed by your improvement of your own traffic conversion rate, meaning that after you're implementing the VR and online e-commerce tools that can help to improve your traffic to coupon or to transaction conversion rates. I'm just wondering how much of that is improved. Thank you.
Okay. First, our forecast, the current forecast is based on our current situation, and we put very little percentage to add it to the forecast from the cooperation with Alibaba, because now we are still in initial discussions. So we currently don't have a very exact forecast how many value added will come from the cooperation. From the cautious level, we cannot put them into the forecast. And as you see that, because our first half, you can see even our e-commerce side, the revenue is flat. But when you break into two quarters, you can see the first quarter actually the e-commerce revenue is down because of the pandemic, and we actually recorded a quite high growth in the second quarter. So we just think that the third quarter and the fourth quarter, the market will keep stable, and from our previous experience, the second half is also almost twice about the first half. So it's our forecast based on these previous experience and the current market situation and our forecast about the market movement. That we think that our forecast is between the 60% to 21% growth in the second half. We count a little now to the forecast about the cooperation with Alibaba, but optimally we think if we can generate the results quickly from the cooperation, I think we are going to report a higher growth from that.
Thank you. And how about the other part of the question, any quantitative color on how much of your conversion rates are improved due to the use of the VR showrooms or online showrooms?
Because our e-commerce current conversion rate is about 80%, right? Like that, if I remember not wrong. And because our sales of the coupons is online, but I think nobody will buy the coupons online and don't go to the showrooms. So it's a combined closed loop of the sales process. So the conversion rate is I think will keep stable around the 80% like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have our next question from the line of Eric Wen from Blue Lotus. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks management for taking my follow-up question. I have two follow-up questions. First is a housekeeping one. Can you give a breakdown or at least describe the trend of coupons purchased and redeemed in the first quarter and second quarter, and what volume will going to spread in the third quarter and the fourth quarter? And I have a follow-up question.
Hold on.
Well, since we're doing only first half financial results, we're not going to release quarterly numbers. If we release one set of numbers, we would be obligated to disclose all others. But in general, like Jeffrey said earlier in answering an earlier question, first quarter was relatively, the operation was poor because of the pandemic, and a lot of the recovery and rebound happened in the second quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, I can add something.
Okay.
Is that I can add something that our second quarter is quite strong, the growth.
Okay, thanks. My second question is a general question. Is that your competitor has published an opinion saying that the circulation rate of China's residential real estate is about 2, the number of houses changing hands compared to the overall house available in China. The developed countries is about 4 to 6. What is our view regarding this circulation ratio, and what do you think the potential for housing transaction will be in China in the foreseeable future? Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't get your question about the circulation rate of houses.
Houses, yeah. It's basically the number of total houses in China as a denominator, and the number of second-hand house transactions in the numerator. So it's about 2%. Sorry, about not 2%. And the developed country is about 4 to 6%. So there's about double the size potential.
Oh, you mean the commission rate is right?
No, it's a circulation rate， 流通率，就是那个房产的流通率。
您指二手房吧？
对，是二手房，对。
Okay, I can add the market trend is that currently China's market is still the primary sector dominated market. And when people buy the houses, the first choice is the primary market, primary new house, rather than the second-hand house. That's the first one. Mm-hmm. The second one is that the conversion rate of the second-hand house is subject to the transaction price of the new house, which is controlled actually by the regulatory government. Mm-hmm. So it's you cannot use the figures of the developer countries to combine to compare with our China's market. So it's very different markets. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes, that's right. Okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. If we do not have any questions at the moment, I would like to hand the conference back to our presenters today. Please go ahead.
This concludes today's call. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact us at the numbers or emails provided on our earnings release and on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our conference for today. Thank you for your participation. You may all disconnect your lines now. Thank you.